Have you ever wondered why a deer bolts the second it sees you, but a pigeon will practically sit on your shoe? Same planet, same species doing the watching, completely different reaction. One treats you like a predator, the other treats you like furniture. So what's actually going on here? Most people assume fear of humans is just instinct, something baked into every wild animal by default, like it comes standard on every species the moment it's born. But that's the wrong question. The real question is this: why do some animals fear us at all, and why do others never learn to? Let's start with the obvious case: deer. A deer doesn't know your name, your job, or your intentions. It doesn't need to. The second it catches your movement, your scent, your upright silhouette, it runs. That reaction isn't random. It's inherited. For thousands of generations, humans hunted deer. The ones that froze, or approached, or ignored us, got eaten. The ones that fled early survived to pass on their genes. Over time, fear of humans became hardwired, not learned in a single lifetime, baked into the species itself. Now compare that to pigeons. Pigeons in a city park will walk right up to your feet. No hesitation, no fear response at all. Why? Because for pigeons, humans stopped being predators generations ago. We became a food source instead. Every crumb, every dropped sandwich, every person tossing bread, it rewired the relationship. Pigeons that approached humans got fed. Pigeons that fled got nothing. So natural selection did the opposite of what it did to deer. It selected for boldness, not fear. That's the pattern hiding underneath all of this. Fear isn't really about how dangerous humans are. It's about how consistently dangerous we've been, generation after generation, in that specific animal's environment. Here's where it gets even stranger. Think about island animals. When Charles Darwin landed in the Galapagos, he wrote about something bizarre. The animals had almost no fear of him. Iguanas didn't flee. Birds let him walk up and touch them. Why? Because those species evolved in complete isolation, with no mammalian predators at all. Fear is expensive. It costs energy, it costs opportunities to eat and mate, and evolution doesn't waste resources on defenses you don't need. If nothing on your island has ever hunted you, why would you evolve to be afraid of anything? That's called ecological naivety, and it's incredibly dangerous. When humans, or human-introduced predators like rats and cats, finally showed up on these islands, the local animals had no fear response ready. They didn't run. They didn't hide. Many species went extinct almost immediately, not because they were weak, but because fear simply hadn't been built into them yet. It's a brutal reminder that fear isn't emotional. It's a survival tool sculpted by exposure. Now think about elephants. This one's unsettling. Elephants in regions with heavy poaching show measurable, learned fear responses to humans, specifically to the sound of certain languages associated with hunting communities. In one well-known study, elephants reacted with alarm to the voices of groups historically linked to poaching, but stayed calm around voices from groups that didn't hunt them. That's not instinct. That's memory. Elephants are passing down specific, targeted fear based on actual experience, sometimes within a single generation. Which tells us something important: fear doesn't only evolve over thousands of years. Sometimes it's learned fast, and taught deliberately, parent to child, herd to herd. So now we've got two totally different mechanisms doing the same job. Genetic fear, built in over deep evolutionary time, like deer. And learned fear, passed through observation and memory, like elephants. Both work, both keep animals alive, but they respond to completely different timelines. And then there's the animals that split the difference. Crows are a great example. Crows can recognize individual human faces and remember them for years. If one person threatens a crow, that crow will avoid that specific person and warn other crows about them, sometimes crows that never even witnessed the event. That's not blind ancestral fear. It's targeted, social, and spreads through communication. A crow isn't afraid of humans in general. It's afraid of you specifically, if you've given it a reason. Now here's a case that flips the whole idea on its head. Wolves and dogs share almost identical DNA, but their fear response toward humans couldn't be more different. Wolves, even ones raised by humans from birth, retain a deep, persistent wariness. Dogs don't. Somewhere in the domestication process, thousands of years of selective breeding didn't just remove aggression, it rewired the fear circuitry itself. Puppies today are born with a shorter window of instinctive caution than wolf pups, and that window gets filled with trust instead of alarm. Which means fear isn't just shaped by predator-prey history. It can be selectively bred out entirely, on purpose, generation by generation, the same way it gets bred in. Bears complicate the picture even further. Black bears in areas with heavy human contact, like national parks with campsites and dumpsters, show measurably reduced fear compared to bears in untouched wilderness. Some researchers call this habituation, and it's a slow-motion version of exactly what happened to pigeons and foxes. The bear isn't calculating risk versus reward the way a person would. It's simply responding to a track record. Humans showed up repeatedly and nothing bad happened. Eventually, absence of consequence starts to look a lot like safety. Which brings us to something most people never think about. Fear isn't fixed. It's constantly being rewritten based on what's actually happening on the ground. Urban foxes today show dramatically less fear of humans than rural foxes, because city foxes have learned, generation by generation, that humans mean food and shelter, not danger. Meanwhile, animals in heavily hunted regions show the opposite trend, fear intensifying over time. Same species, opposite outcomes, entirely dependent on what humans actually did to them. So here's the bigger idea hiding underneath all of this. Fear of humans was never really about humans. It's a mirror. It reflects exactly how a species has experienced us, whether that experience happened over 10,000 years or 10 years. Predictable danger creates predictable fear. Predictable safety creates the opposite. Animals aren't reacting to who we are. They're reacting to what we've consistently done. And that raises an uncomfortable question. Right now, all over the world, animals are quietly rewriting their relationship with us. Some are learning we're dangerous. Others are learning we're harmless, or worse, useful. Cities are creating bolder animals. Poaching zones are creating more fearful ones. Which means the animal kingdom's fear of humanity isn't some ancient, settled fact. It's a live experiment, still running, still changing, one encounter at a time. So the next time an animal freezes at the sight of you, or completely ignores you, remember, you're not just being noticed, you're being measured. Somewhere in that animal's biology or memory, a verdict is already being written about what kind of creature you are. And whether that verdict says predator or provider might depend entirely on what happens the next time your paths cross.